Okay, welcome to the Sword and the Tome. This is David. In this video, I'm going to review the standalone epic fantasy novel Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. For those of you who haven't read the book, most of my review will be spoiler free, but after I give my general thoughts and rate the novel, I'll get into some spoilers so I can talk about my favorite moments in the story. Alright, well, as the title of the video clearly states, I had my share of problems with Warbreaker. And honestly, I wasn't too surprised because I also didn't love Elantris, another book by Sanderson, which I'll likely review in a later video. In a nutshell, Warbreaker is a political crisis story with lots of magic and atmosphere, a little action, and a bit of romance. It has 4 point of view characters, but more accurately, it has 3.5, as one of the POV characters gets significantly less page time. I'll start with the good. It's a well thought out story. The kingdoms and cultures are detailed and distinct. The plot has plenty of moving parts and pieces without ever feeling convoluted. And the magic is unique and thoroughly explained, which, from what I understand, is what readers have come to expect from Sanderson. There's also a plot/character reveal that I liked shortly after the midpoint of the book, but I'll wait until the spoiler part of my review before I delve into that. Unfortunately, that's about all the praise I could come up with for Warbreaker, which means it's time to explain my criticisms. Number 1, the characters. I didn't love any of them. I was somewhat interested in Vasher, the POV character who was given the least amount of page time, but the other 3 I more or less didn't care about. Lightsong, the unambiguous comic relief character of the book, was occasionally funny and worth my time, but not nearly often enough. Number 2, the pacing. From my point of view, this book drags its feet through its first 3 quarters. And in my opinion, the reason it does this is tied in with the POV characters. They're all too often seemingly incapable of doing anything about their problems, or in the case of Lightsong, disinterested. As a result, there are lots of scenes with very little plot development and momentum. Number 3, the prose and dialogue. I realize what I'm about to say won't be very popular, but I believe the best review I can give is an honest one, so here it is. From my limited experience with his books, Sanderson has very average prose and dialogue. In fact, I would say his dialogue occasionally dips below average, and it never blows me away. I should add that average prose doesn't hurt a story for me if I love the characters, pacing, and conflict, but that simply wasn't the case here. Those are my 3 main complaints. I have more, like how quickly I was over the mood ring hair color shifts, but I feel I've said enough to justify my rating, which is 2.5 stars. And just so I'm clear, I'm not saying this is a bad book, because for me, the quality of a book or author is completely subjective. I'm merely saying Warbreaker didn't strike the right notes for my taste. That said, if you normally enjoy Brandon Sanderson stories, you'll probably like this. Now it's time to reveal my favorite 2 moments of the book. Obviously, there'll be spoilers ahead, so stop the video if you don't want to hear them. Okay, the first moment, Chapter 35. Dent's reveal as a villain. I didn't see it coming, and it was the first scene in the book that I really enjoyed. I was concerned for the protagonist, and the story was finally given a proper villain. I would have preferred this scene come earlier, but better late than never. And number 2, Chapter 57, Lightsong's Sacrifice. I may have had my issues with the character, but I did appreciate the conclusion of his character arc. I assumed he was going to end up in a romantic relationship with Blushweaver, and I wouldn't have cared about that, but I was pleasantly surprised to read him do something beyond my expectations. There you have it. I hope you enjoyed my review of Warbreaker. If you'd like to listen to more of my fantasy book reviews, then please subscribe to the channel.